I want you to take a deep breath before we begin. Not because this is going to be difficult, but because it's going to awaken something ancient in you. Something you've always known but never fully understood. You didn't come here by accident. You didn't stumble into this video randomly. You've been drawn here, called here, summoned here. Because somewhere in the deepest part of your soul, you know you're not like the rest. You've always felt it, haven't you? That strange sense that you were born into a war no one else can see. That you walk in two worlds. That your life has never been just about survival or success, but about something far greater. Something cosmic. We live in a world that is far more spiritual than we're led to believe. Beyond the surface of our reality, there is a hidden war being waged every single day. Not with guns or armies, but with energy, with frequency, with influence. Angels and demons are not just myths or metaphors. They are real forces, archetypes, energies, conscious intelligences, and between them stands a rare kind of human. Not a saint, not a prophet, but a bridge, a mirror, a warrior, a chosen one. And if you're still watching, it's probably because you are one of them. Let me tell you something that will shake everything you thought you knew. Not everyone is chosen to stand between light and darkness. Most people are meant to live out their karma, enjoy their lives, learn some lessons and move on. But a few of us, we were marked from birth, sometimes even before birth. And it's not because we're better, it's because we said yes. Not in this body, not in this lifetime, but long before, in the space between worlds. We chose to return here, to this dimension, to act as a stabilizing force in a time of massive energetic upheaval. And that means we don't get to live normal lives. The first sign that you were chosen to stand between angels and demons is that your life has never made sense in a linear way. You've experienced extreme highs and devastating lows, periods of bliss followed by sudden collapse. You've seen darkness in people you thought were good. You've witnessed light in places no one else could sense it. Your life feels like a constant balancing act between beauty and horror, love and fear, truth and illusion. That's not chaos, it's your training. You are being trained to hold both polarities without collapsing. To walk through the fire and carry the water. To live in the middle of contradiction without losing yourself in either side.
Click subscribe to this channel to get more profound spiritual lesson.
The second sign is that you've battled inner demons more than anyone around you. Depression, addiction, anxiety, Selbstsabotage, thoughts you were too afraid to speak out loud. You've been to the edge of yourself. And while others seem to coast through life, you've had to fight for your sanity. Why? Because your soul is powerful. Powerful enough to threaten the very forces that keep humanity asleep. And so you've been targeted not to destroy you, but to test you, to refine you, to see if you can withstand the weight of your own light. Because only those who have faced their own demons can be entrusted to face the ones that haunt the collective. The third sign is that people either love you intensely or reject you completely. You walk into a room and shift the energy without saying a word. Some people are drawn to your presence like moths to a flame. Others are triggered by you without even knowing why. That's because you carry a frequency that exposes what's hidden. You are a walking truth serum, a mirror. And people don't like to see what they've been hiding from. You don't conform to social norms. You don't play by the rules. You answer to something higher. And that makes you a threat to the matrix and a lighthouse to the lost. The fourth sign is that you've had encounters with the unseen. Maybe you've seen shadows move, heard whispers in your sleep, felt the presence of something watching you. Or maybe you've had dreams so vivid, so prophetic, they felt more real than waking life. These aren't hallucinations. They are signs that the veil is thin around you. You live close to the edge of dimensions. You are sensitive to the spiritual currents that most people are numb to. You've been given sight not just to see beauty, but to see the battle. And that's not something to fear. It's something to hone. Because your awareness is your weapon. The fifth sign is that you've always felt like you were being prepared for something, but you don't know what. From a young age, you felt watched, guided, instructed, even when you weren't religious, even when you didn't believe in angels or demons. There was always this inner voice, this pull, this strange sense that life was a simulation, and you were being groomed to remember how to break it. And you're right. You are being prepared, because in the times to come, the illusions will crumble, the veil will lift, and when that happens, people will look for those who can stand in the chaos and say, "I've been here before. I know what this is. Follow me." Now, I want to ask you something not with fear, but with reverence. What if your entire life has been a rehearsal for a spiritual war that is only just beginning? What if the reason you've suffered so much is because your soul volunteered to be a guardian of the threshold between realms? What if your pain was actually the sharpening of a sword you can't yet see? You must understand this isn't just about light versus dark. It's about integration. You are not here to destroy the dark. You are here to transmute it, to carry the codes of both realms and awaken a higher harmony that has been lost for centuries. You are the in-between, the sacred tension, the living proof that the human soul can hold both angel and demon and still choose love. It's easy to imagine that the war between angels and demons is happening somewhere out there far away, in invisible realms, in ancient temples or haunted places. But the truth is far more intimate, far more unnerving. The real battlefield is inside you. That's where it all begins. That's where everything is won or lost. And if you were chosen to stand between angels and demons, then your greatest opponent was never external. It was never the shadow figure in the corner of your room. It was never the narcissist who broke you. It was never the system that tried to control you. It was you, the parts of you that you haven't yet dared to face. You see, for chosen ones, spiritual warfare is not about fighting evil. It's about reconciling with it, not surrendering to it, not aligning with it, but understanding its nature within yourself. Because until you face the demon in the mirror, you'll project it onto everyone else. Until you confront your own ego, your own rage, your own envy, your own fear, you will unconsciously serve the very darkness you believe you're fighting. That's the trap. That's why the most righteous people can become the most dangerous. Because unhealed wounds, when dressed in holy clothing, become weapons of mass delusion. And for those of us who were chosen, this confrontation is not optional. It is required. We are asked to face the parts of ourselves we were taught to suppress. The anger, the lust, the grief, the pride, the shame. Not to indulge in them, but to integrate them, to understand their origins, to reclaim our power from the places we once feared. Because demons feed on suppression. They feed on avoidance. They feed on our refusal to see what is truly there. But once you bring light to the hidden places within, those same demons lose their grip. They don't disappear. They transform. Have you noticed how the same patterns show up over and over in your life? The same triggers, the same betrayals, the same internal loops that sabotage your peace. That's not coincidence. That's your initiation. Each of those patterns is a coded message from your soul. A test, a mirror, a gate. And until you pass through that gate, you'll continue to repeat the cycle. That's what spiritual warfare really is, a series of inner initiations disguised as outer chaos. And the moment you stop blaming the world and start asking, what is this trying to show me about myself? That's the moment everything changes. For me, the turning point came the day I stopped trying to be purely good. I know that sounds strange coming from a spiritual guide, but hear me out. I spent years trying to embody only light, to be kind, peaceful, loving, high vibe all the time. But underneath that mask was a storm, a rage I never expressed, a grief I never admitted, a hunger for truth that couldn't be satisfied by spiritual cliches. And I realized something terrifying and liberating. I was wearing the mask of an angel while denying the voice of a demon within. And that denial was killing me. because I wasn't whole. I was divided. When I finally sat with my shadow, when I looked into the eyes of my own darkness without flinching, something miraculous happened. I didn't become evil. I became real. I stopped performing for the light and started embodying truth. I stopped fearing my flaws and started mining them for wisdom. And that's when I truly stepped into the role of a guardian between realms. Because you cannot protect others from darkness until you've made peace with your own. So I ask you now with total honesty, what parts of yourself have you rejected in the name of being good? What emotions have you buried so deep that they now whisper to you in your dreams? What would happen if you stopped fighting your shadow and started listening to it? The truth is, angels and demons don't just surround you, they speak through you. Every day. In your thoughts, in your choices, in the way you treat others and the way you treat yourself. And the more unconscious you are of this, the more likely it is that your inner demons are steering your life while wearing the disguise of your voice. But once you become conscious, once you start watching your thoughts like a hawk, once you start taking radical responsibility for your triggers, once you start asking, is this coming from fear or from love? You begin to reclaim your throne, because that's what you are, a sovereign being, not a pawn in the war, a witness, a warrior, a balance point between heaven and hell. And the more you bring your own inner world into alignment, the more you become a living sanctuary for others. You stop projecting, you stop judging, you start radiating. You become a safe space in the midst of madness, a lighthouse in the fog, a living invitation for others to do the same. This is the hidden truth of all spiritual warfare. It's not a fight, it's an awakening. And the prize is not victory, it's wholeness. When you no longer need to be right, when you no longer need to be pure, when you can hold both shadow and light without being consumed by either, that's when you've won. By now you might be realizing that you've never truly been alone. Even in your darkest moments, even in the silence where you begged for a sign and heard nothing, even when it felt like the world had turned its back on you, there were eyes on you. Watching, assessing, guiding. Not out of punishment, but out of purpose. Because you were never just living a life. You were walking out an assignment. One so sacred, so rare, and so dangerous that most people will never even be aware it exists. But you are. You feel it. You've always felt it. And that's not paranoia. That's presence. The chosen ones are not just spiritually sensitive. We carry a frequency that disrupts the ordinary. We are anomalies in the system. Our thoughts, our energy, our decisions, they ripple across timelines. And because of that, we are watched, not just by higher beings of light, but by the opposing forces as well. The light watches us with love, with patience, with infinite wisdom. The dark watches us with calculation, curiosity, and sometimes hostility. But both watch because they know who we are, even when we forget. You've felt it when you enter a room and the energy shifts. You've sensed it when you wake up in the middle of the night with a feeling that someone is near. You've experienced the synchronicities that are too perfect to be random. The numbers, the dreams, the sudden insights. These are not coincidences. They are communications, reminders, proof that your path is being observed and, at times, orchestrated. Because your mission on this planet is not just to navigate your life, it's to transform the very fabric of the collective field through your presence. But with that level of impact comes testing. Not to break you, but to refine you. Think about it. A sword that is meant to cut through illusion must be forged in fire. A bridge between realms must be able to withstand pressure from both sides. So if your life has been filled with bizarre challenges, sudden losses, betrayals, near-death experiences, inexplicable suffering, it's not because you're cursed. It's because you are being qualified. You are not average, and so your tests will not be average either. Have you ever noticed how just when you think you're finally aligned, something comes to shake your foundation? Just when you've found peace, a storm rolls in. That's part of the design. Because peace is not the absence of chaos, it's the ability to remain centered within it. And the only way to truly embody that is to be tested in real time. And so the universe sends the tests disguised as heartbreak, as delay, as disappointment. But if you look closely, you'll see that each test is also a blessing in disguise, a coded message, a new level being unlocked. And yet, even in the fire, you've always been protected. You know this. You felt it. The accident that should have ended your life but didn't. The toxic person you wanted so badly, but who was removed from your path. The countless times you were on the edge of losing everything and something unseen pulled you back. That's not luck. That's divine protection. That's your spiritual team, your ancestors, your guides, your angels working behind the scenes to ensure that you make it to your appointed moment. Because the chosen ones may be tested, but we are never abandoned. Still, here's the paradox. You are protected, but you are not exempt. You will feel pain. You will feel loss. You will question everything. Because protection doesn't mean insulation, it means preservation. It means even when everything falls apart, your essence stays intact. Your soul stays on course. Your destiny stays alive. You are protected not from pain, but from purposeless destruction. Everything you go through is allowed for a reason. And if you're paying attention, you'll begin to see the pattern. You'll begin to trust the pattern. But there's one more layer to this unseen assignment, and it's the most humbling of all. Your life is not your own. Yes, you have free will. Yes, you have desires and dreams. But your soul signed a contract before you arrived here. A contract that said, I will awaken. I will serve. I will stand in the space where light and dark collide and hold the line. And because of that contract, your life will be different. Not worse, not better, just sacredly altered. You will be called to higher standards. You will be asked to surrender more. You will be led into places others fear to enter, not because you're being punished, but because you're the only one equipped to make it through. So I ask you, not as a guru, not as a teacher, but as a fellow soul on this path, what if everything in your life, every heartbreak, every miracle, every delay was part of your assignment? What if you stopped trying to escape the intensity and started trusting the intelligence behind it? Because here's the truth. You are not here to be normal. You are not here to be comfortable. You are here to remember who you are and to walk that remembrance into every space you enter. That's the real power of the chosen ones. Not that we shine, but that we illuminate others. Not that we speak truth, but that we become it. There is a moment in every chosen one's journey that can't be faked, forced, or rushed. It doesn't arrive through effort or ambition. It's not the result of more knowledge or better rituals. It's a moment of remembrance so deep, so real that it shatters the illusion of separation forever. This is the moment when the veil lifts. And when it does, your life is no longer theoretical. It becomes sacred territory. You see with new eyes. You move with different weight, and more than anything, you know not believe, not hope, but know who you are and why you came. When the veil lifts, you stop negotiating with your assignment. You stop asking for an easier road. You stop trading your fire for acceptance. You stop trying to blend in, fit in, or be understood. Because suddenly, all of that seems absurd. You remember that you didn't come here to be liked, you came here to ignite. You didn't come here to play it safe, you came here to break cycles. You didn't come here to follow rules, you came here to write new ones, rooted in truth, love, and cosmic justice. And with that awakening comes a profound shift in energy. You no longer chase validation because your sense of worth is no longer external. You no longer fear darkness because you've seen it up close within and without and made peace with it. You no longer need permission because you realize you are the authority your younger self was waiting for. This is not ego, this is embodiment. The arrival of your divine self into your human form, the merging of soul and flesh, spirit and matter, heaven and earth. But don't mistake this moment for the end of your challenges. If anything, the stakes get higher, because now your existence becomes a living transmission. Your presence alone becomes prayer. Every word you speak, every choice you make, every boundary you set becomes a message to the universe. I remember who I am. I walk with purpose, I carry light, and I am unafraid of the dark. And that message, whether you whisper it or roar, it reverberates across dimensions. It inspires others to wake up. It agitates the systems built on sleeping minds. It attracts both allies and adversaries. And that's exactly how it should be. When you step into your divine role, you begin to see your life as a sacred story. Every trauma becomes a chapter of alchemy. Every loss becomes a lesson in release. Every delay becomes an orchestration of divine timing. You realize that the universe was never punishing you, it was preparing you, positioning you, protecting you. Even the people who tried to break you were unknowingly playing their part in your expansion. And when you see it from that level, forgiveness becomes effortless, not because they deserved it, but because you no longer need to carry it. You also begin to attract others who have lifted the veil. Not perfect people, but aligned ones. Souls who speak your language without needing words. Those who've walked through their own fire and now carry the same light in their eyes. Together you form a quiet army, not of warriors in armor, but of beings in truth. Anchors of a new frequency, custodians of a new earth, and perhaps most surprisingly, when the veil lifts, you find yourself becoming more human, not less. You cry deeper, laugh louder, breathe slower. You stop escaping the human experience and start sanctifying it. Because now you understand your divinity was never about escaping the earth, it was about transforming it from within. So I ask you, with reverence and awe, what would your life look like if you stopped pretending to be asleep? If you stopped hiding your light and started living like the veil has already lifted? What would change in your relationships, your choices, your energy, if you fully embraced the truth that you are a bridge between realms? Because this is the final truth. You were chosen not to be worshipped, followed, or praised, but to remind humanity of its own sacred origin. You are not the answer. You are the invitation. You are not the hero. You are the mirror. And when you walk in that knowing, you liberate others just by being who you are. You are the one who walks between angels and demons, not to take sides, but to restore the balance. You are the one who remembers the original song, the one who carries the codes above heaven and hell and still chooses love. And now, your time has come. The veil has lifted. Live like it.